All right, lads. I knew you've been waiting for this one. I was initially going to fold it into just the normal video that I do recapping all the stuff that happens in the Champions League, but I decided to make it its own video because I saw a tweet that just frankly pissed me off that compared, I'm sure it was from one of those bait accounts that is part of why Twitter has become a ruined cesspool of shit, where they just post stuff for engagement and to try to make money because, you know, while the amount of money that Twitter pays out in, I would say, like most first world countries isn't able to provide you a living wage. In a lot of countries around the world, it is. I don't really knock them for doing it, but obviously they don't exactly contribute to the discourse. They contribute to the brain dead. Basically, the tweet said to not show the tweet or give the person any notoriety because they annoyed me. The tweet said that, you know, what Bodø Glimt has done, they've done, you know, has been done before. We've seen teams like Dortmund. We've seen teams like Monaco. We've seen teams. Hold on, let me make sure that I have this right, because I still can't believe that it's actually real. We've seen teams like Porto and Ajax make these deep runs before. This is not a surprise. You know, to see a team like Bodø Glimt be able to make this run, it's not that special, and you can't really blame Inter for losing to them. My counterpoint is that that's bullshit, and what Bodø Glimt is doing has virtually no precedent in the modern era. Even Porto, who obviously went on to win it, they're the last non-top 5 team to actually be able to win. Even them, they're in a completely different stratosphere than Bodø Glimt. Completely different stratosphere. The Norwegian league is not even a second-tier league. Let's start there, okay? We're not even going to get to what Bodø Glimt has actually managed to do, that had a 0.3% chance to even get to the knockouts, or what they did last year, which was equally as remarkable, or almost as remarkable as what they're doing now. But less people, I mean, a lot of people were paying attention. Less people were paying attention because it was the Europa League, but they got to the fucking semifinals of that competition, and now they're into the last 16 of the Champions League. You're like, what the fuck, right? But the Norwegian league is not second tier. I mean, you've got leagues off the top of my head that aren't the big 5 that I would rank ahead of the Norwegian league. Portugal, Netherlands, Belgium, Turkey, Switzerland. Up until this year, I would have ranked Austria. Denmark, probably. The Scottish league, probably, although the Austria and the Scottish league have proven to not be as good as the Norwegian league now. It would seem like every indication over the course of this season would say those leagues are not that good. The Greek league, for sure. In terms of depth, I would have thrown Poland in there too. Right? They've had 5 or 6 teams make deep runs. They've got like a ridiculously balanced league. And I think on balance would be better than... It would be better than the Norwegian league. I would have said the Swedish league too, but Norway just hasn't given a shit, right? They're not even in that second tier, right? They're probably not even a top 10 league in Europe. And not to mention, Bodø Glimt was in the second division. Bodø Glimt joined the top division for this iteration in 2018. They got promoted at the end of 2017 and joined the top division in 2018, 8 years ago. From now, can you imagine going to them and telling them, hey, by the way, you're going to fuck up Man City, Atletico Madrid, and then Inter back to back, and Inter, you're going to do it twice. That's 4 straight wins. There is not, I mean, screw, it's impressive what they're doing because of their size. There isn't a team in the world that you would feel completely comfortable being able to rip off all 4 of those. PSG, probably. Barca last season, not this season. Real Madrid, maybe. Not super confident in that one either. Probably Bayern Munich this year. So PSG and Bayern, I would feel comfortable they would be able to pull that run off. Bodø Glimt actually did it. They won, and they needed it. They needed to beat City and Atletico Madrid just to make the knockouts, and they did. Right, and I talked about it in a video at that time, how insane that was. Because the last one was at Atletico Madrid. It was on the road against Atletico Madrid. So they didn't even have the, oh, we're this great home team excuse. And in case you were on the same, oh, we are this great home team and that's our reason that we're so good and this and that, they just won at Inter. They just beat them there in the San Siro, in the big famous old stadiums. It's like the whole world's been put on notice that Bodø Glimt is garnered enough experience playing on big stages. They are not overwhelmed and overawed by playing in these massive occasions anymore. And that should be scary, because if you've ever watched them play in the frozen north, they're very good. And that's really one of the biggest takeaways as part of this. And I'm going to show you like a passage of play here, is that Bodø Glimt is not doing this like Greece at the 04 Euros. Right? They are not doing this like Atletico Madrid shitting their way to a Champions League final. Right? They are not doing this in a way where you can obviously look at the way that they're playing and go, this is Costa Rica at the World Cup getting to the quarterfinal. It's a flat back five with a super high line, and they play super well. Right? There's no gimmick here. They're just winning. Look at this passage of play. Ball falls, doom, 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 one touch, turns into open space, excellent communication, out of it. I mean, it's gorgeous. It's composed. They know where the other person is. There's a tactical understanding. And there's a lot of confidence. One of my favorite things that I ever heard from any manager about playing the sport was Carlo Ancelotti. I think it was Eder Militao was coming into the team or something. And he noticed that he was nervous, right? That he was hoofing the ball up or hoofing it out. And he went, you know how to do all this. The only thing that you're missing is the confidence to do it. I wouldn't put you on the field if I thought you couldn't do it. Everybody makes mistakes every once in a while, but you have to have the confidence to just take the ball and pass it to the open guy. Put the ball where you know you can put it. Except with Eder Militao, obviously, you're bringing in that story, you're bringing in somebody that's proven to be incredibly talented, and you kind of have to be in order for Real Madrid to be interested in you in the first place. They kind of just like vacuum up all the clout that they can in a pretty, 21st century way of looking at it. With Bodø Glimt, creating that belief and understanding is far more difficult. They're not even in season right now. These are the only matches they're playing. And that is obviously an advantage in terms of, well, they're very well rested. They're not sharp. They're not in the rhythm of a season. Their season happens over the summer. It goes like March to October, November, right? Like they're in their preseason. Their preseason warm-ups for their league play are Champions League knockouts. Okay. And being able to have the confidence to play the way that they're playing is reminding. I'm gonna hazard a guess, just as a dude, right? We're sharing the same lunch table here. I'm gonna hazard a guess as to why I think they're capable of doing this. Okay, why? Why are they capable of doing this? They are reminding us about one of the most important parts of this sport: cohesion. Cohesion. Everybody's so infatuated with the individual players. You're spending $100 million on this guy. You're spending $100 million on this guy. Or if you're Chelsea, you're spending $100 million on all of them. Right? People forget that the players don't necessarily make the team. And there's a reason. And there's a million stories like this, because as an American, this is my favorite one. Like Pulisic is at Chelsea. And you go, he's great sometimes, and sometimes he's not. Oh, this guy must not be that good. You send him over to AC Milan. Over 3 seasons, he leads La Liga, Serie A, whatever the hell it is. He leads Serie A in goal contributions at certain points. Like, he's having a complete career resurgence. Anthony, another great example. Go over to Real Betis, boom. Scott McTominay, great example. Go over to Napoli, boom. Maybe you're talking about examples of people that go away from the Premier League. What about somebody like Jamie Vardy? Nobody was paying $1 million. Nobody was paying millions and millions and millions and tens and 20s of millions of dollars for him. Guy ended up making the England national team. He was so good. You know what I mean? But he was so good because he ended up in that system, and the team makes the player more often than the player makes the team. Because the truth is, the level of your top class players in the Norwegian league is probably not nearly as far away in a technical sense from your average Inter player than any of us would like it to believe. That edge is right here. And Bodø Glimt does not give their opponents that edge. And they are a team. There are 9 Norwegians on this team. Now, I am like in the starting 11. I am not one of those people that's like, well, the starting 11's got to be 11 Englishmen or else we are offending the crown. First of all, we threw the tea in the river, right? Not a big Kings guy. But second of all, I think, sign the most talented players you can get that fit your system and go from there. And Bodø Glimt has grown up together. If you've watched them in Europe over the last couple of years, the names are the same. It's the same guys. It's not Bodø Glimt as much as it is like these 19, 20 dudes. Right? It's the same group of guys. They know each other. They know how to play. You know what's crazy? They had the opportunity to blow it up. This team didn't even win the Norwegian League this past year. While they were playing Champions League stage, producing the results they produced, they didn't even win the league. This is the second best team in Norway. That gives them such an opportunity to blow it up. They could have gone in and been like, it's over. It's over. We had our fun. We're going out in the Champions League stage. We finished second in the league. Blow this shit up. They believed in continuity. They believed they were headed in the right direction. They believed that these guys had what it takes. They didn't overreact. And in January, they showed up and they beat Manchester City and they beat Atletico Madrid. Now in February, they've beaten Inter twice. And they're in the last 16 of the Champions League. And nobody gives a shit that they didn't win the Norwegian League. I'm sure they still care there, but you tell me. Who won the Norwegian League? I know. I looked it up. But you don't know. Because they had their sights set on being able to do this. And they are bringing cohesion back. They're bringing the team back. I mean, they're not the only team that's doing it. I'm not going to overblow the importance of this, but they're proving that if you are able to create that belief, and if you play well together as a team, you can overcome these seemingly insurmountable obstacles. There are a lot of reasons why Bodø Glimt should not be capable of this. Everybody loves to talk about the Arctic Circle. Let's just talk about the infrastructure of the club. There's not a lot of people in the town. They don't make a lot of money from ticket sales. They don't make a lot of money from merch sales, right? They don't make a lot of money from the TV income of their league. They make the majority of their money, I would imagine, through 1 or 2 player sales and European checks, right? The resources and the infrastructure to be able to support a team that's capable of doing this should not exist. It just shouldn't. And anybody that is thinking that they've seen something like this before is wrong. Whether it is, Ajax made the semifinals. Dortmund made the final. Remember when Monaco made that deep run? Remember when Porto won it all? You ever seen Porto's fucking stadium? I mean, I know they're in Portugal. It must be a footballing backwater. It's a huge club. Militant fan base. Them, Benfica, Sporting, all the lot of them. Militant. Ajax, militant. Not in like a bad way. I'm not using that as some sort of derogatory term. I just mean like they are there, present. You say be there at 9, they're there at 6. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of them. And I'm sure Bodø Glimt's fans are like that too, but it's just not even in the same stratosphere. There are League One clubs that make more money than Bodø Glimt. No doubt in my mind that are paying bigger wages. Doesn't fucking matter. They're going to show up. They're going to beat you. They're going to smile about it. And you're going to have to stare at that annoying slash in their name, that annoying yellow, and they're just going to be laughing to the bank while everybody else makes fun of you for losing to this team. Who's honking in the middle of my perfect, monologue here? Everybody else is going to be laughing at you for losing to this team that your team probably would have lost to too. You know why? Because the uncomfortable truth is that Bodø Glimt from Norway is one of the 25 best teams in Europe right now. In this moment, home and away. And there's really not an ability to make a super compelling argument against that in terms of what happens on the field. All of the arguments against that are going to be dependent on, well, look at the value of this team and look at what this team, look at the, beat them. You can't. Inter's leading Italy by like 10 points. It's the best team in Italy. I mean, inarguably the best team in Italy. What happened to them? Manchester City. They're pretty good. They might just go on and win the Premier League this season. Atletico Madrid. Always a groomsman, but not the best man or the husband in the wedding. They're somewhere between the rest of La Liga in Barcelona and Real Madrid, always. They got to play at home. I mean, if you go through the Premier League and say, well, Bodø Glimt was in the Premier League, they wouldn't be able to do this. Atletico Madrid's better than a lot of Premier League teams. And they needed that game. They would have gotten a bye if they'd managed to win. Like, they had a lot on the line in that game. It wasn't like they were just trotting out the U19s because they thought it was fucking over. And speaking of having something on the line, Inter losing the first game in Bodø, you're like, all right, we got to take them seriously now. They lost at home. They got beat. I'm taking stabs as to how this was possible, as to why they were capable of doing this. And I want to bring up one more thing just to address it. They had 30 shots, 71% possession. Inter only scored 1 goal. Look at the big chances category. 2, 3, 30 shots, 7 on target. It's panic. Why are you panicking? This is like an advantage that Bodø Glimt has, by the way, is that every team that plays them thinks they're supposed to blow them out. And once they're not able to get control over it, they panic. They start cranking shots from everywhere. Or they start forcing the issue, and that plays into Bodø Glimt's hands, obviously. I remember I made a video about, Faroese team or whatever. And the Faroese team's like, oh yeah, we drew Lille 0-0. I was like, dude, well, they probably thought they were going to blow you out, and that's probably why you got the draw. It's like, yeah, but we still, whatever led into it, we still played the game and we got the draw. The most lethal thing about Bodø Glimt is everybody underestimates them. Every team that draws them, including Inter, goes, damn, easy draw. Great news. Oh, we've got Bodø Glimt last match day. Pfft, we might be able to get top 8. Shit. They just keep going. And they're great in knockout formats because the Europa League was freaking semifinals. Can they win it? Probably not. But consider that sentence. Can Bodø Glimt win the Champions League? Probably not. How far have we come?